You like my shirt today? Huh? Going old school with the shirt? These were the first shirts we ever bought. I wear it all the time, but I mean, this is like Throwback Tuesday. Looks good. It's like the old shirt, yeah. You know what they say, you dressed for the job you had to settle for, not your dream job. Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Tuesday. How you doing out there? This is our stock market update show. We cover the stock market. We've got all kinds of good stuff here for you today, so let's hope everything just works, because we do numbers, not production. So this, every day, like up to the last second, we don't know if it's going to work. I mean, and that's a genuine, honest sort of thing there. But here we go. Let's take a look and see what we got. Hey, I got a thing for you, actually. On our research site, I know not everybody's a member. It's not a sales pitch, but if you want to join, it's $13 a month. You can join. We do a lot of research in there. It's a private portal that we have videos and lots of data and geeky stuff to help you kind of identify the things that maybe help you find better opportunities and kind of see how we analyze things here. And what I did is I actually went to the class 2 weeks ago. It's a full trading strategy. Just if you're sort of a beginner, active trader, maybe intermediate, gave you an idea of what to look for. It was for clients. It's our Wine and Wealth class. I actually just, the compliance lady's going to kill me, but I just changed it so that even research members can see that as well, because I don't think we'll get in any trouble for that. So unless we find out otherwise, maybe go check it out. It's something new in there. I don't think it would have alerted you, but look at the last Wine and Wealth class, because it's real important that right now, the way the markets are moving, you've got a focused strategy. When a stock is falling and you want to buy it, where do you buy it? When it's going up and you want to buy it, how do you do it so you're not just randomly buying stocks there? So we've got that in there. I also went over the earnings stats, just a breakdown of what every single thing means, so that you know when we're talking about certain stats or volatility or the average gap and things like that, you know what we're looking at, and sort of gave you an update on that one. Also a good one for beginners. If you want to send that to somebody, you're welcome to do that. Oh, I mean, I guess I'm not supposed to say that, but you could do that. Anyways, the stock market off to the right-hand side of your page here for today. Kind of a mixed bag. It's a little bit similar to yesterday. You got some record highs in there. The stock market's really just waiting for earnings. That starts officially, sort of unofficially starts tomorrow with the big banks. We'll cover some of that data there. You had your inflation numbers. One of the more anticipated inflation numbers came out today. There's two of them. There's CPI, which is just consumer price index, and then core CPI. CPI is the short way to say it. And core CPI just takes out gas and groceries or something. So it's more of general everyday stuff. And so both of those numbers came in just slightly higher than expected. I'll go over here and show you. Here's the regular consumer price index, popped one of its better moves month over month, but this is just the change month over month. You can see we've hit a high here recently, and if I bring in consumer price index in general, we'll change it to black, put it in the background. You know, we've got inflation. I'll put this in the background, but the one way of looking at this is inflation is starting to creep up. Like it or not, it's starting to make its way in there. Comes in 1/10 of a percentage higher than expected there. Like I said, we've seen higher. This is not enough to make the Fed change their mind, and they've actually already wrote off these two indicators that came out. They just wrote it off, said it's not going to be anything that changes our minds. Interestingly, you had Bitcoin moving higher ahead of that. Also coin is going to go public tomorrow in that direct listing, so that'll be all the rage tomorrow aside from earnings. So nonetheless, that's what you had kind of starting the day, a little bit of excitement there. Stock market was a little bit weak, then a little bit strong. There wasn't anything to go on there. If we look at the Dow, you're going to notice that one, I'll go back to the main page so you can see how the Dow was down today. You might have heard about the Johnson & Johnson thing. So Johnson & Johnson, one of the bigger weights on the Dow here today, although it did recover kind of nicely. Sad to hear it, but they're going to pause the vaccine use here in the U.S., because you had some blood clotting issues there. If you're looking at the Dow, that's going to be one of the drags overall. Still up 10% year to date. Goldman Sachs was the biggest drag for the day. Now, Goldman Sachs has earnings coming out tomorrow, so we'll cover that here in just a second. But what you won't see in the news, you want a fun one? What you won't see in the news is that the odds of getting the clot, I just took the number of doses issued there and broke it down. The odds of getting that blood clot or similar issue that we saw in those 6 to 7 victims there of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was 1 in 1.3 million. So if you're a little bit nervous, I'm not telling you to go get the vaccine or do it or don't do it or whatever. I like odds. So the odds are 1.13 million. The odds of getting COVID are 1 in 882,000 if we can officially trust the numbers and there was no mistakes or anything or conspiracies, all you people talking about that. So there you go. This is the breakdown of it. So the odds of getting COVID are greater than maybe the COVID, the clotting issue there. I don't know. There's still a chance. So that's something to consider there. I just thought it'd be fun to break down the odds there. If we go over to inside that Dow, by the way, you've got Boeing and come on. Work with me here. There you go. So you got Boeing 1.5% higher today. It was the best name in the Dow. Second straight month of positive aircraft sales helped this stock move a little bit higher here today. Goldman Sachs actually says that you should buy this stock ahead of earnings. That was their words, not mine there. You're also going to have Apple. I'm going to mention Apple a few times, 2.5% higher on the day. They've got that new event coming out. Spring into Apple or something like that. So they announced that, maybe some new iPads coming, although they might be a little bit higher price because of the shortage and all the issues there. You've got the S&P here, up about the same as the Dow. The interesting stat here for you, I'm going to give this. For 13 days now, the opening of the market has been lower than the close. In other words, for the last 13 days, the stock market has opened at some price and closed just above wherever it opened there, or some significant amount higher there. That is the longest streak ever in history. In other words, the difference between the open and the close is positive 13 days in a row. Never happened before. Now I'm going to use the SPY. If you go all the way back to 1993 when the SPY came out, that has officially never happened. 13 straight days. 12 days was the previous record there, but it is becoming more and more popular for that to happen. So what we did is we put a chart together to show you every single streak where you had at least 10 days where the open was lower than the close. And you can see that as we get to, this is like 2007, sorry it's a little blurry there, but as we get going here, more and more occurrences are happening. You actually, if you go back here and start looking backwards, there's almost no occurrence of 10 straight days of those gains. Well, we've got a new record here. So very interesting. Thinking about putting together a little research post to show what happens afterwards. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's nothing to say that there's the market crash going to happen. It's actually right in line with the stats that we gave you yesterday with the markets being overbought in the short term there. Severely overbought there. Anyways, moving on here, we've got Apple in the S&P and Tesla are going to be your biggest contributors here for the day. Tesla up $60. That's a big mover. Your banks were all, there you go, almost all lower ahead of earnings. You've got Bank of America reporting earnings coming up tomorrow. Bank of America is not tomorrow. JP Morgan is tomorrow. They were down 1% ahead of the earnings announcement. You got Goldman Sachs down 1.25% there, and Wells Fargo is the other one that will report tomorrow. They were also down, and it's going to be a big day for them. That is earnings day. So in the S&P, that is what you have. If you look at the NASDAQ there, it's around 9% year to date, sitting at record highs overall. Tesla and Apple were your biggest contributors here as well. Microsoft comes in third place. What a run. Good run there for Microsoft here lately. Semiconductors are going to be at the bottom in terms of performers. You got Micron. Maybe this is your start to your pullback here. I know just like energy and financials, a lot of you are looking for semiconductors to give you a little bit of a buying opportunity there. I don't know if this is it, but you sure like what you're starting to see in names like Micron, NXPI. Texas Instruments would be another one started to pull back for you. And Intel started yesterday, continuing a little bit of that here today. And then finally, we'll go over to the Russell. The Russell is still the best performing index overall. It's up 13% year to date. It's given back 5% of that over the last 1 month. But if you take a look at the Russell, you actually have good reason to be excited if that does continue to pull back. Moving on over to the sector breakdown here for the day. There we go. You can see it on the screen there, and the sectors off to the right-hand side of the page. What a mess. Remember, yesterday was pretty clean. You had only 3 sectors lower, and a lot of these others were nice and tight up at highs. It's a mess here today. Financials are the worst performing, of course, because of earnings coming up. People positioning, hedging, getting out, getting excited ahead of those earnings. Some really good patterns out there in the financials, even if you're not excited about playing earnings. Look at JP Morgan. Tight consolidation here at highs, hinting at maybe a breakout. Earnings will likely be the mover. PNC Bank, very similar pattern if you're looking for those. Progressive. So this is a little different. Progressive coming out of a pretty sloppy downtrend there, but nice and tight here. You got a nice boost off of those highs. I would argue this is maybe not the most exciting of all of them. And Truist, I didn't share the data on the earnings for Truist because that's a merger, SunTrust and BB&T. There's not a lot of data there because these guys are essentially brand new. But nonetheless, you like that chart pattern there as well. They're going to have their earnings coming up, I believe it was Thursday. Now, earnings tomorrow. You got Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo overall. Here's what we want to take a look at. Will they be higher or lower? Do they tend to have a strong earnings day or not so good? And here's what you have. We got Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo. How often is it positive on the day of earnings? So Goldman Sachs ranks in second place there. 39% of the time it's positive. That's not good. That's not even half of the time, JP Morgan gets first place 46%, and Wells Fargo had a rough patch over the last couple years, but only 36% of the time is that stock positive on earnings day. In other words, what does that mean? If you own one of those stocks and it happens to be lower tomorrow, it's okay, right? It's actually kind of normal given what's happened. Remember, we gave you these stats here the other day. If you look at something like a Goldman Sachs, they typically do beat. They've got a good beat rate here, but the average full day move is still slightly negative. So even though it's not positive, it's not a disaster. See how that's only down 0.04%, so it's not a big deal. JP Morgan averages a slight gain, but not more often than not, essentially is how you would say that there. And Wells Fargo would be the same thing, averages a slight decline, and they're the worst, I believe, out of all the earnings there. They only beat 51% of the time, 53% on revenue, so horrible there. And in our research site, I actually went through each column to give more detail about how you would analyze this and kind of maybe pull these stats on your own and kind of see what's going on there. So that's what we have for that one there. Moving back to the sectors here for the day, I don't want to take too much of your time on that, but if you go back and look, you've got communication services and tech, right? So even though tech and communication services slightly positive on the day, still the most overbought in the short term. If you look at energy, energy is the most oversold. It's not technically oversold, but it is the most oversold. It's the closest to being oversold out of all the sectors out there. So you're getting that pullback. The moral of the story is if you're looking for pullbacks or relative strength, energy continues to be the area to look there. If you look inside of industrials, so industrials down here towards the bottom, what that's going to be is your airline stocks. I'll try to hover over there and show you. Industrials have had a really nice run here lately, but if I start sorting through them real quick, you can see you've got, or we're going to look at contributors. We'll do it this way. So if you start sorting through there, you're going to find that all the airlines were down on the day. They're all listed inside of here, Delta Airlines, etc., going through American Airlines, United Airlines, all down on the day. And that's that Johnson & Johnson thing, right? I mean, it's sort of unfortunate, but if that becomes a bigger issue, people travel less, yada, yada, you get where that's going there. They were all dragged down because of that there. And so then you have to actually look over at consumer discretionary. I'll go over and take a look there with you. Consumer discretionary did okay today, but if you start looking at some of the weak spots inside of there, you're going to find the cruise lines as well. There were a lot of other things down today. Retail took a little bit of a pullback as well, but you've got cruise lines as a group down on the day. I'll just go right over to them so you can just see. Carnival actually went positive just by a touch. But if you look at like Royal Caribbean down just a little bit, and Norwegian Cruise Lines just barely, right at the end of the day. Good for them. Okay, so I'll take that back on the cruise lines there. Carnival and Norwegian fought back towards the end of the day. You've got new highs and lows for the day. Check it out. You got 41 new highs, 1 new low, right? It's that same stock, right? Came back to the new lows there. VTRS hitting new lows. It was one of the closest to hitting new lows, and that's still the case as it breaks for the second time. Merck is still down there near lows. Nothing really exciting out of that one here today. And then you have just a couple others. If you're looking at the downside, Perrigo continues the downtrend. There is no excitement there at all. And Vertex. So are you guys catch a falling knife type people? You like Perrigo? That's not a falling knife. That's like a knife sliding off the corner of a small hill or something. Starbucks hitting new highs today. That's one of your 52-week highs today. Great momentum, and it's been that way. Remember, one of the office trades that I had was just one of the momentum trades there. Got out way too early apparently, but as a short-term trade, not too bad. Estee Lauder is one that we've owned for a while and actually performing really well, hit new 52-week highs, coming out of what I would argue is kind of a sloppy consolidation, but still a consolidation, maybe waking back up for hopefully the next move there. We can enjoy some more gains. Progressive no, I put the wrong ticker symbol there. That was not one of the new highs. I think I meant to put PN. No, actually, I don't know. That's going to be my mistake. I put the wrong ticker on both things there. Medtronic, I thought that was an interesting looking one as well. Really tight, boring, almost Amazon looking consolidation here, and just now starting to get more interest. You've got volume creeping up. That just tells you more people are committing to buying the stock in here, and you've got a little bit of time till earnings. They pay about 58 cents a quarter in dividends, so not too bad there. And I just wanted to throw one more in there, right? Little tight consolidation pattern. I struggle with these to buy a breakout when the market is at these levels. I just got it. I'll have a hard time with that, but I point them out to you guys that like to try to make something of it, and I hope it works for you. I hope you find something you like. Stocks in the news here today. We don't have to cover it too much, but Johnson & Johnson, you know, you got those vaccine issues. Obviously, it started lower on the day. A lot of selling to start the day, way above average volume there, and that's what you have. Moderna was higher on that news because obviously they're competitors, and they're not having the same issues. So Moderna up about 7%. Congratulations if you own that one. Fastenal in the news, they had reported earnings, right? So earnings basically came in as expected. Revenue's a little bit weak there. It turned out to be one of those buy on the dip mentalities. Overall, you could kind of see this one moving back to new highs because earnings weren't exciting. They weren't that bad. So that dip today, people say, well, I'm going to buy that. That's my discount. That's my opportunity. Not too bad there. Synchrony Financial down about 4% today. They get replaced by Barclays for Gap's credit card issuer. You know, I don't know, do you have a Gap card? Is that one of your things? You go to the store, you buy a Gap card, you buy clothes, I guess, Old Navy, Gap, Banana Republic. Is that your thing? Well, you're now going to be using Synchrony Financial as their credit card issuer. If we look over to Lockheed Martin, it was kind of a slow news day. There wasn't a whole lot to go on. Lockheed Martin gets $450 million Navy contract. Doesn't move the needle for them. Obviously, good job. They got a few other contracts before, but that's all I got there. Tomorrow, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo. Did I mention that? Financials, their earnings tomorrow. Also, Bed Bath & Beyond. You know, maybe something out of Bed Bath & Beyond, but they got earnings coming up as well. No chance they make headlines for any length of time unless there's a major catastrophe there. Also, the White House apparently yesterday was talking about a 5-cent gas tax, trying to, find a way to pay for the infrastructure plan. Today they said, no, that's not the case. We will not finance the infrastructure bill on the backs of Americans, which makes you think, like, okay, well, who's paying for it? We're paying for it, right? How do you not finance something on the backs of Americans? We're paying for it. And also, if you're starting to push this idea that you want people out of gas cars, all right, fine. That's the way of the future. You want to do that. Well, we figured out that semiconductors yesterday, remember, that's infrastructure, so we all have to commit to paying $50 billion to support semiconductor businesses. Well, if that's the case and you want to move everybody into electric vehicles and everything, then isn't lithium ion also a national security as well? Shouldn't we move down that path? So I was just thinking about this last night. Like, I saw your comments. Thank you for that, by the way. I was just sharing my opinion, as I rarely do. And I thought, okay, then where does it end? Lithium ion. There's a shortage of that as well. We're going to need a whole lot more of that if you're going to want everybody to start driving green cars. So, I think we got a lot of conversations to have in the short term there. Thankfully, that's not my job. Tomorrow, we got the Beige Book also from the Fed, so that'll help move the needle a little bit. Remember, that's delayed, so we already kind of know what's in there, but still gets a little attention because Jerome Powell will actually be speaking first thing in the morning as well. Let the stream catch up here for a second because there are no dividends, no nothing for tomorrow. It's just earnings, man. Earnings are the excitement there. That is pretty much all we got. Yeah. Earnings, and just going to double check to make sure nothing else. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, I'll try to do my best and help you out here. I'll probably mess it up, but, maybe you'll forgive me. Yeah. Yep, Synchrony's been on a roll lately if you don't follow them as far as being the back end of a lot of these retailers. They've been on a roll. So good salespeople there. I'll give them that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Besides the Gap, of course. But you know what I'm saying. Stirring the political pot. When it starts affecting your money, you want me to pay $50 billion for this, like we have to talk about it. So I only like to talk about politics when I either, agree or disagree with what they're doing with the money. I have no problems with people driving electric cars. I hear they're fun. I don't have one. Fun fact, I drive an old truck. That's my car. It's a 1941 Ford truck. It's actually where this camera is sitting on top of right now. The hood is right in front of it. We were just playing around. But I drive an old truck, and so I'm taking it to this place to have them maybe make a few customizations, get it more street ready so I can drive it even more. And I threw it out there. I'm like, hey, just out of curiosity, have you done any electric conversions? Should we consider doing something like that? And the guy said, absolutely not. We will not take your business. Nope. We want nothing to do with that. Just true good old boys that want to work on gassers, man. It was so they don't like me too much right now, but I'll bring them some candy or something, make it better. Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens there. Banks, banks do average a sell-off for earnings. If you were to take all of them, put them together, that's a great, we should do that. You could see it on the screen, but we ought to take, and anytime we do a group of earnings like this, we ought to show what the average is. Because in this case, I'm focused on financials. So if you were to look at only financials, would you expect an average decline or rally? So I like that, Harry. That's a good idea that we came up with together, right? We worked on that together. Yeah. I love it. Well, I don't mean to start that conversation. I just thought it'd be cool to have, you have a 1941 that's like quiet as can be, and it's all electric. Like, who does that? I figured that'd make it more valuable, but apparently it's going to be a problem getting anybody to do that. So that might be a DIY project when I get a few minutes of time one day. You like, okay, so you got your Home Depot. Let's take a look here real quick. Because you're playing that Home Depot still hasn't pulled back. Darn it, yeah, giving us some struggles here too. Any thoughts on Home Depot going down to 307? That's asking a lot. You need the market to fall too. Home Depot likely wouldn't just go on its own. They're not going to have earnings before that, I don't think. I don't think you're going to have earnings. So you are asking really for the stock market to pull back as well in this case, a decent pullback. So if you own, sounds like maybe you own puts or something on this one. If that's the case, you obviously have nothing, probably very little to lose at this point. So it would just be a hold for me. But let's see where you're at. Oh, May 7th, right? Is that what you said? You got weeklies. So you don't have weeklies then. Something else is going on there that you've got some other strategy going on. But yeah, there's no trading going on in that 205, 210 area for May 7th. So I'm not sure what maybe your break even or something is what you're looking at. You're going to scan for stocks that have hit highs 5 times in the last 3 months. Yeah, that's reasonable, right? Stocks that show that momentum. Hopefully, you might want to add some kind of extension rule on there. So you want stocks that have hit highs 5 times in the last 3 months, but maybe not, or last month, but not Home Depot, right? Because you don't want to say, all right, right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 new highs. And so you would get this to pop up on a scan. Problem is, it's all the way up here. Are you willing to pay that price? So you might want to put something in there that says, new highs at least 5 times in the last 3 months. However, no further than 1 or 2 standard deviations away from the 50-day, no further than so many % or something away from the 20-day, so that you're not actually looking at stocks that are so extended you wouldn't buy them anyways, unless you're a contrarian and you're looking for a short. Is that what you're doing? Did I get it? Mustang, you like your Mustangs? I was a Camaro guy. Yeah. Personally, I was a Camaro. My buddy of mine's a rocket scientist, and he has a Camaro that he's had to build. I don't know enough, but he had to rebuild the frame because he made it so powerful that the frame would torque and was at risk of twisting apart. It was this fascinating car to watch him build there over the years. Yeah. Very cool. Hey, I'll wrap it up there, and yeah, that's really all we got today. Kind of a light news day, so I tried to come with some different stats here today to keep things interesting. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll likely have a lot to talk about with the 3 big earnings coming out and Bed Bath & Beyond. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us, and see you tomorrow.